just want to make sure. I was confused. We're good. If you want to see all the questions pop up on the side, that's fine. I was just confused at first. But I'm not actually presenting.
Usually I have the questions over here, actually, so it should be good.
Looks like we have 14 people so far. Seriously. No more friends. What? No more friends. Okay, you ready, Jeff?
Sure.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to mLevel's ongoing webinar series. Today we'll be discussing we'll be getting an overview of mLevel activities presented by Jeff Steffgen, mLevel's Director of Product, along with help from Chris Weaver, mLevel Account Manager. Just a few important housekeeping items before we begin. Feel free to ask questions using the questions feature here shown on the screen. You can also use the raise your hand functionality by clicking the hand icon, and then we'll open up your line so you can ask the question to the group. With that, I'll hand it over to Jeff.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Just wanted to let you know this webinar is going to be a little bit more on the informative side, so we're not going to have any interactive polls, but we do encourage you to submit questions along the way. So as Jake mentioned, if you have questions, just go ahead, either raise your hand or type them into the questions panel, and we'll get those addressed at every quick break that we take during these activities. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. I'm going to fire up my little presentation here. We'll get started with Academy. So Academy is our newest activity, and it's an assessment tool that features adaptive questioning. It also features open book style of learning and allows players real-time views of their progress across multiple learning concepts. Academy's most innovative feature is actually its use of adaptive questioning, and that's used to help drive better learning efficiency. This allows players to easily test out of subject items that they already know. And how does this work? After answering 3 questions about a given item, the user will no longer be served up questions about that specific item in subsequent gameplays. Excuse me. Instead, it will focus on asking questions about things that the user has not already mastered within that activity. This activity is actually ideal for self-assessment, since players can actually use the open book style in-game reference tool, which is our Knowledge Navigator Lite, excuse me, to easily explore and find the information they need to answer the question while they're actually playing the game without any pressure of time limits. And in addition, the in-game reference tool only displays content that is asked in your session questions, so it makes it really easy for them to find answers like you would in an open book test. I'm going to go through each of these with 2 slides. So the first slide will give a quick overview, and the second slide will give a little bit more details and a quick screenshot before I dive into the actual activity. We'll give a quick demo of each activity. So in each gameplay session, the user answers 10 multiple choice or true false questions, filling up the progress gauges over multiple gameplays. So what's unique about this game is that you actually have to play it a couple times to actually earn all of your stars, typically, unless you only have 10 questions. Excuse me. Players have 1 chance to answer correctly per question, and they're given immediate visual and audio feedback as to whether their answer choice was correct or incorrect. And we also give the admins the ability to create custom text feedback for each answer option. So in terms of Bloom's alignment, this activity touches on remembering, understanding, and evaluating, depending on how you're using it. So the quiz feature utilizes recall memorization, and the in-game reference tool helps players to understand by presenting information in a classified or categorized manner. Real-time feedback and progress summary allows the users to reflect and evaluate how they did, and the adaptive questioning allows players to automatically adapt their learning style on the fly without them actually knowing it. A few quick details on this one. You'll need at least 10 questions to get the activity published. In our current version, version 1 only supports creating your questions manually. Support for using question templates will be coming soon, probably in a release or two. And then branding is actually going to be available in our upcoming release, so you'll be able to actually change the background color and the primary and secondary accent colors and the gears and the buttons. So let's go ahead and we'll go take a look at Academy. Go here. This guy. And we're going to go Tri-Cities. We'll do the World Cities here. So very similar cards and introduction as all the rest of the activities. Wait for that to load up, and you can see it's a little bit different than our other activities. When you first enter, you get a progress gauge, and I've played this before, so you can see what progress I've made across all these different what we're calling topics or learning concepts. So here we have Africa, Asia. We've sort of broken it up into different regions. So I'm going to keep training, and we'll show you how the actual gameplay works. So you can see on the left we have a question, and then on the right we have our answer options fly-in. So you can have, I believe, from 2 to 6 answer options. So let's go. I'm going to just guess at this one, and I guessed correctly. So you can see we have visual, and probably didn't hear it, but I'll turn my volume up so you can hear subsequent ones. Some feedback there, and then the admin can actually type in whatever they want for each answer option. In this case, we've just said that's correct. You can go through and you can see your progress for this topic item, which happens to be Johannesburg. So I've answered 1 out of my 3 correctly. I can go to my next. If I don't know the answer to this one, I don't know that I do, I can kind of go into this light version of Knowledge Navigator, use this open book concept to start looking things up. I can sort of peruse around here. I can see maybe it's in Munich. Let's see. Home of the Lowenbrau Brewery. There you go. So I just happened to guess that one, but I can easily back out of this, and now I know that Munich is the correct answer. See if I can get one wrong here and show you. Let's see. I'm guessing Sydney is probably wrong, so you can see it'll show me which answer is actually correct in addition to the answer that I chose that was wrong, and we get a bit of feedback here. I'm just going to go really quickly and play through this game so you can kind of see at the end what happens. Also support for true-false questions. Apparently Boston's not the right answer. I figured it might be Seoul since they're pretty technology-oriented. I know it's not Chicago. Must be New York City. And I've been asked to look one up again. Melbourne. Let's see. I know it's not Chicago. Where's Melbourne? So it must be Australia. Click out of this. So you can see there's really no time limit, no pressure. You can go and look things up. We also have support for images in here, so you can add images to your answer options. Another incorrect one. This will be my last question. You can see up here we have the question counter. We have question 10 of 10. Let's see, I'm going to say Athens. All right, so that was the end of my first session here, so you can kind of see my progress gets updated at the end. It gives me a check mark when my item is done, and I won't be seeing that one again unless we need to fill in with additional questions at the very end. And that's Academy. Chris, any other tidbits you'd like to add about Academy?
Yeah, so just kind of from an application standpoint, when I'm creating my Academy activities, I really like to populate, my Academy activities more or less with kind of my foundation knowledge. So basically, those features, the benefits, maybe the different steps that are kind of going into your content that are really going to build that foundation of knowledge for your end user. I really like to think of it as, kind of what does my end user need to know to continue on to my other activities. So that's really kind of what I like to populate that activity with.
Great. So just to recap, it's ideal also for, if you have longer questions, you can see there's a lot more room on the left-hand side for your questions, and probably short to medium answer options as well. And then it's great for using that open book concept, and it also is a little bit different in terms of the user can actually see their progress as they go, and the replayability, because you have to play a few times to actually get through all of your progress. Great. Any questions coming in through?
No questions. It's probably worth mentioning, though, that our last webinar was dedicated completely to Academy. I think it was our last webinar, right? So if anybody's on the current webinar that missed that and wants a deep dive, feel free to check that out. Email us for a link for that.
Great. All right, so I'll move on to our next activity, and I'm going to do a bunch of these activities in a row that are very similar, that address sort of the Bloom's learning or understanding and remembering type things. So our first one here is Block Party, and we also have a 3D version of Block Party. So they're very similar, the original flat version and the 3D animated version. No 3D glasses required, by the way. The 3D version was added after our team started testing and exploring the use of 3D environments for our platform, so we just figured we'd throw it out there if anybody wants to use it to change it up a little bit. The object of both of these strategy type games are the same. You basically blow up blocks by tapping 2 or more of the same colored blocks to earn points for each block in the group. You receive point multipliers by selecting the group that contains a question block and correctly answering that question. You can also earn more points by strategizing and clearing the board of all the blocks. So this one's a little bit more of a gamey game, so you can actually, it has a little bit more strategy before you're actually asked any questions. This game has no time limits, so users feel no pressure to answer or act quickly. And since there are no time limits, this activity is actually well suited for somewhat longer questions, giving the player plenty of time to read all of the content and the choices. Gameplay is one level, which generates random block patterns on each new gameplay. Players cannot fail out of the game and will answer all 8 questions, regardless, which means they don't quit the game. The question support is for only single select answers via multiple choice. And you can have 5 answer options displayed in each question screen. And then you'll need at least 10 questions with at least 5 answer options for each question in order to publish and play these games. As I mentioned, the Bloom's alignment, this game focuses on remembering with key verbs such as recall, memorize, choose, and match. So let's go ahead and switch to the app, and I'll show you a quick example of the gameplay and some of the question screens. So let's go back here. Let's go back to our menu, and let's go to a different tenant here. Actually that's the same tenant. Let's go to customer service. We'll try this one out in here. Here's Block Party. Let's go ahead and load that up. Turn my volume down a little bit so you don't hear the music too long. So you can see, each time we generate a game set, the blocks randomly sort of fall, but there's always 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions will always be displayed. Turn my volume down a little bit. And you can see as I tap more than one block, if there's 2 blocks in a row, I can tap those, double click those, and it'll break them apart. And I can sort of use a little bit of strategy to shift things around. Say I wanted to bring this guy down so I get more multipliers, or more points anyway. When you click a block that has actually a question with it, in this case I've got 2, it sort of queues them up, so I've got 1 of 2 questions that I'm about to answer. You can see I've got multiple choice, and there's 5 answer options here. You can use images within these answer options, and again, this game is not timed, so it's better at displaying longer answer options, so you're not pressured to sort of read through those very quickly. You can take your time. I can show you what a wrong one looks like. Let's see, if I have 2 more customers in line, what should I do? Oh boy, let's see. How about try that one? Nope. I guess I should have told them that I should be there in a moment. We'll try that again. So you can see I'm just trying to clear all of the blocks out as I get another question. See if I can get this one right. I think I just got this one, so I should know that one. Nope. Of course, I guessed wrong again. Apparently, I'm not learning very well. Let's see. This time, I'm going to get it right? There we go. So there's the right answer. So you can kind of see as you go through all the questions, you get 2-time bonuses. If I answered more questions in a queue, then I would get more bonus points. I can kind of go through here. I'm just going to guess at these really quickly so we don't spend too much time on it. But as you can see there, I kind of did a little strategic move, so I added another block to this guy. Let's see. Nope. Let's see. I'm going to guess. Anyone? Take a survey. Yes. Been prompted many times to take a survey. All right, so then at the end, the game ends when you actually have only one question left, and you click on that and you finish it. So if I'm an upset customer, I probably want to try to resolve their issue. So that one I guessed correctly. All right, and that's Block Party. And Block Party 3D is very similar. It just has some different transitions and animations. Let's go back to. Actually, let me go back here and pause it. Great. Chris, any other additional insights on Block Party?
Just from a design standpoint, I really like to use a game like Block Party that only requires, a minimum of 10 questions to be generated. I really like to utilize, maybe if I have a smaller content grid, maybe I'm not generating enough questions for, say, a bigger activity such as Fastlane or Checkpoint. I can still utilize that content grid and put that into Block Party.
Great. The other thing I wanted to mention is these more gamey type of games are great for breaking up other activities with more fun gameplay. So say you have maybe a Pathfinder or coordinates, you might want to put one of these in between just to kind of break it up and help create that engagement and make it a little bit more fun. Next we'll talk about Quiz Ball, which is actually very similar to Block Party. The object of this skill and strategy game is to strategically aim and shoot balls to clear the pegs. You gain points and enable special power-ups. You can earn additional multipliers by hitting purple knowledge gems and correctly answering questions. That'll increase any subsequent point scoring as you progress through the game. This game has no time limit, but a player can fail out of the game by running out of balls before hitting all of the gems and answering questions. You can also earn extra balls if a ball falls into the moving bucket at the bottom of the screen. In terms of blooms, this game focuses on remembering, very similar to the Block Party games, with key verbs such as recall, memorize, choose, and match. Gameplay is currently one level, but we're considering adding new layouts in the future that can be randomized for better replayability. Hopefully we'll get to that soon. The question support, only single select answers via multiple choice. Again, same as the Block Party games, 5 answer options displayed in each question screen. You'll need at least 10 questions with at least 5 answer options for each question in order to publish and play. So let's go ahead and we'll dive into Block Party now. And for this one, I'm going to go back. Let's go back to this other tenant, and we'll do this guy here. Load that guy up. All right, so you can see I've got, this is, the object of the game is basically I'm pointing and trying to get all of these purple knowledge gems so I can answer questions, and trying to clear all those out to end the game. Really, if you want to be strategic about it, you can try to clear all of the pegs. That was a power-up I just got, which was the boom ball, so it's going to make everything around it explode. You can kind of see as the ball goes down, it selects the pegs. Now I've got 3 questions queued up because I hit 3 knowledge gems. You can use images, you can use non-images, with just text only. You can use a combination of both. This one happens to use a combination of both. Again, there's no time limit, so it's very nice for longer to medium questions. You can actually take your time and sort of comprehend what's going on. This one happens to be around our old mLevel 2.0, so I'm going to say purpose is engagement. We're going to say video. That was my first question, and then I've got 2 more queued up. So this is question 2 of 3. You can see that in the bottom right-hand corner for the user. They know how many questions they have to answer. Drive learning, I'm going to say external link. Then finally, we have our last question. So which mLevel 2.0 edition has purpose to drive learning? So I'm going to say it's coordinates since that's another game activity. You can see I'm going to get my multipliers now, and I'll get points for all of those types that I hit. I can go over here, I can re-aim anywhere I want. And again, I've queued up 2 questions that I hit, so I'm going to answer those. Get one wrong so you can see that. Again, this uses the same question answer option template as the block party. I'm going to go ahead and say tasks. Nope. Alright, so that time I didn't get any multipliers, but I still get points for all of the things that I collect. I'm going to try and get a free ball. See that. Drive learning, I'm going to say it's going to be the game. I'm going to try to clear a path here so we can maybe get a free ball. You can see that. And there you go. I got a free ball since it popped in there. So you can see, you just keep going until you get all of the knowledge gems, and after the knowledge gems are done, the game will be over. Again, I got another free ball. Lucky shot by me. I'm feeling pretty lucky today. There's another wrong answer, but I think you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and quit out of this game. We'll go back over here. Great. So this game is, as I mentioned, ideal for longer questions with short to medium length answer options since there is no time limit. Again, focusing on fact memorization and assessment. And then it's also a great way to break up other activities with fun gameplay. Chris, any other thoughts on this activity?
You know what? Not really. This is, kind of the same applicable content can be used from Block Party to Quiz Ball. Kind of your smaller topics with those longer answers. Those longer questions is perfect here.
Great, thanks. All right, so moving on. We'll move on to Checkpoint, which is a version 2.0 game. That's when it came out. In this activity, your goal is to visit 3 different locations, advancing to each location by answering 5 questions correctly before progressing to the next level. You've got a limited amount of time, so you need to make sure that players pay attention to their timer. It'll be at the bottom of the screen. And there's also hints in this game which actually disable one incorrect answer when necessary, so they can use them when needed, and they can actually earn hints if they make it through the next level. Admins can adjust the level timer so they can speed up or slow down the countdown. This is especially helpful for creating content for learners who speak English as a second language. Maybe it takes them a little bit longer to read, so you might want to actually increase the timer so it gives them a little bit more time, a little extra time for them to read and comprehend the questions and answers. Checkpoint is a great activity to showcase products as well. So it gives you the ability to use large images at the cutscenes and the level backgrounds. Fill-outs are pressable, so players are allowed 3 attempts to choose the correct answer, with the points award reduced after each incorrect guess. So you get more points if you guess correctly first. You get less points if you take a few attempts to do that. The number of answer choices will increase from 3 to 6 as the game progresses through 3 levels, and the players can fail out of the game if they do not correctly answer 5 questions in a given level before the timer runs out. For this game, you'll need at least 18 questions to publish the game. And Checkpoint supports answer options with text and images, images only, or text only. So same as the other guys, same as Quiz Ball and Block Party games. This allows admins to configure and customize. It also allows admins to configure and customize location images and text at each level of the game, as well as swapping out the default owl mentor for a static image. And in terms of balloons alignment, most of these games that we're talking about right now are sort of at that bottom tier in the remember category. So let's go ahead and take a look at Checkpoint. I'll use a game that I created using some custom images to enhance the story, so you can kind of see they're not going to use the default ones. I put some custom ones in there. We'll go to a galaxy far, far away to chart that out. So let's go. Leave that still in this tab here. Here's Checkpoint. Go ahead and load that up. So you can see here my level 1 text is all custom. My background image is custom. I've got sort of a Star Wars theme going. And that background actually retains throughout that level. Once again, this is the timer at the bottom, so I've only got about a minute to get through this level. As an admin, I can adjust that to more or less. Let's see, so I'm just going to go ahead and get through this level so you can kind of see. I'll use a hint so you can see what happens with a hint. It sort of disables, so I'm not allowed to choose that one. And you see, as I answer correctly, it sort of collects my correct answers up the top. And as my timer starts getting down, it creates a little bit of sense of urgency by changing colors, getting more towards the red color and flashing. Here I made it throughout, so my level's completed. I'm going to get any remaining time is left. We'll go to my next level. Here I've customized my mentor. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Customized my text, so it has a little bit of a theme to it. And we're on to level 2, so I'll try to fill out of this level so you can kind of see how that works. So again, now instead of having 3 answer options, I've moved up to 4, and if I progress to the next level, that'll be 5 answer options. So it progressively gets a little bit more difficult in terms of not knowing what to do, or not knowing. You've got a little bit more options to choose from. Yeah, I just want to make sure I get some of these wrong. So I've got that one was wrong, that one was right. See, as I answer incorrectly, I also get a time penalty. And I'm going to try to fail out of this one. There you go. So my time's up. I have a little bit of customized text in there as well. Apparently I've achieved mLevel by getting my 1 star. And that's pretty much checkpoint. Chris, anything to add on checkpoint?
The only thing that I would like to add would just be to definitely encourage all of our administrators out there to definitely utilize the ability to customize that timer. I know that a lot of you guys will go through kind of a testing period with a base audience of maybe 10 or so individuals. Definitely reach out to them, get their input. Were they feeling rushed when they were going through checkpoint? And kind of align that timer with how those end users were feeling. I guess overall, we don't want our end users to feel rushed. We want them to have enough time to go through and actually read those questions as well as all those answers. So I would say overall, definitely just utilize that timer feature.
Great. Yeah, and just to recap, this game is probably better for shorter questions with shorter answer options just because you do have that timer and that sense of urgency, so you want them to be able to read through everything very quickly. And it's actually pretty decent at showcasing products as well. If you have product photos or things like that, you can use the custom branding and custom game configuration to put those photos in the back instead of using the default version. Great, so let's move on to short fuse. So short fuse was actually the first iteration of checkpoint. So checkpoint, whereas checkpoint has levels, short fuse doesn't. It's just basically you go through 20 questions, multiple choice quiz. The goal is to choose the correct answer before the fuse runs out for each question. So it's a little bit different in that the timer is actually used as per question instead of per game or per level. The short fuse game also supports the answer options with text and images, images only, or text only. And then again, since the timer is used, we recommend keeping questions and answers fairly short. As with all of our other timer-based games, admins can adjust the timer to speed up or slow down the fuse time for each question. And then in order to get the short fuse game going, you'll need at least 20 questions to publish. Players are allowed 3 attempts to choose the correct answer, same as checkpoint, with the points award being reduced after each incorrect guess. The number of answer choices will increase from 3 to 6 as the game progresses, to make the questions harder to answer as you reach the end of the game. And then again, since the timer is used per question instead of a level or a game timer, players cannot fail out. So they'll simply just not get any credit for a question in which the timer runs out, and the next question will just be presented after that. And a fun fact for you, Short Fuse was actually the first game created for the mLevel platform. Since it's a legacy game, we don't have any customization options currently available. But let's go ahead and check out Short Fuse. So let's go to go ahead and believe there's one in here. There we go. That's loading up. So again, this background is pretty generic. It was one of our first games. You go through 20 questions. You can see the fuse is sort of timing down per question. And as I reach certain points, it actually disables guesses. So it kind of gives you a hint automatically. If I wait a second here, it'll actually, once it gets about a third of the way through, maybe halfway through, it'll give me a, there you go. So give me a disabled hint. I only got 2 points for that one. If I answer one correctly, it'll give me 3 points. As we kind of go through this, you'll see once we get to a certain point, I'll start getting more answer options. So now I've got 4 answer options, making it a little bit more difficult as we progress through the game. As you can tell, I'm pretty good at Star Wars. We're just going to kind of go through this until we get to 5 answer options. You can kind of see that. So if you make these pretty short, you can get through this game pretty quickly. So here we've got 5 answer options, so it gets a little bit more difficult as the game progresses. And again, I get my hints. If I don't answer anything, I'll show you what happens. So it'll basically just queue up the next question. It'll show me what the right answer is, and then it'll present me with the next question. So I'm just going to start guessing here, and we'll go through this pretty quickly. And you can see one of the new features that we added recently was this in-game star meter, so you can kind of see how you're progressing with your stars as you're playing. Let's see if I can go get that second star. Gives me a little bit more incentive, and now I've got 6 answer options to choose from. So again, this is quite difficult if you don't know the content. There's my second star. We'll go ahead and just finish up this game since we're so close. See there, I got 5 points instead of 6, so you also get more points as the game progresses. So in the first rounds I got 3 points because there were only 3, and the last ones I got 6 because there's 6 answer options. That's pretty much short fuse. Again, just to recap, shorter questions with shorter length answer options. It's all about fact memorization and assessment, and the answer options can display images. Chris, anything else to add on this guy?
So for the short fuse activity, once again, you can actually configure that timer, and I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but you can actually get away with probably, shortening that timer, since the timer is going to refresh after every question. So just to kind of add that sense of urgency kind of to the end user, you could go ahead and even shorten that up below the default of 60 seconds.
Great. Thanks. Speaking of questions, how are we doing on questions? Anything coming in? Or?
No questions yet.
Great. So again, if you have questions, just go ahead and raise your hand. We'll address those when we take a break, or you can type them into the questions panel. All right, so moving on, we'll go to fast lane now. So in fast lane, your goal is to drive to 3 different cities without being slowed to a stop by hazards. Correctly answering questions will help you avoid the road hazards and will increase your speed. Incorrectly answering questions will decrease your speed, and that'll be indicated on the speedometer in the lower bottom of the screen. That allows players to fail out quickly when their performance is lacking. During gameplay, you are presented with an opportunity to learn facts and get acquainted with content. So admins can take advantage of the advanced comparative or weighted question templates to create questions using rank or ordering, allowing you to ask sort of greater than or less than, or which comes first or which comes last type of questions. And in addition to that, you can also use true false or simply use right and wrong multiple choice, picking from 2 answer options. Since there's no timer here, Fastlane is also ideal for using somewhat medium to longer questions that have shorter answers that fit in the space. And in Fastlane, players will be asked 7 questions over 3 levels for a total of 21 quick hit questions. There are limited answer options, but a lot of admins choose to use Fastlane as the first game in a mission, allowing players to sort of ease into learning with less pressure and quicker gameplay. Fastlane also supports answer options with text and images, images only or text only. So again, you can ask various types of questions. Players can also receive a point bonus each time they go turbo. So you'll see in this example here in the screenshot, we've got this little guy that goes around the speedometer. It sort of moves up in thirds. So in this case, we've answered 1 correctly. As we keep answering, once we get to 3 questions correctly in a row, you'll get a point bonus of 3 points, I believe. And this game can also be customized by using a combination of the canned skylines or destinations and the ability to upload cutscene images, edit text on the exit signs, and swap out your default mentor with a custom image. So this game aligns with Bloom's elements of understanding and remembering, with a focus on recall, memorization, and matching or comparing to help aid in understanding. So let's hit the road and check out a Fastlane game. Let's go to, let's get out of Star Wars. We'll go to a new tenant. We'll go to mLevel Madness. Go check out Fastlane. All right, so you can see here we've got a skyline in the background. That's one of the default versions, which happens to be Seattle. We've got the question up at the top. We've got answer options on the side. The game is not actually timed, but you can fail out. So we start you at a speed, I believe, with like 3 correct answers. So if I get one wrong, you see I got a road hazard, and my speedometer will indicate that I'm going to go down in speed. Once I go all the way down to 0, I'll fail out of the game and I won't be able to play anymore. So you can actually fail out pretty quickly if you don't know the answers. So let's see, learning method that emphasizes short focus bursts. So I'm going to say it's clean learning, got that correct. You can see I've got my 1/3 turbo ready, I've got my speedometer increased, and here's my level indicator indicating that I'm at level 1, and I'm on my 3rd question now. So this is the amount of questions. So let's go ahead and get a few right here so you can see I've boosted up my turbo a little bit more. Purpose of the how to play screen is, oh, I got it wrong. So, alright, so let's say this one is understanding. Let's see if I can get 3 in a row, and you can actually see the point bonus. So that's mLeveling, learning technique that goes with interval time, spaced repetition. So here I've turboed, got 3 in a row, and I've also exited out of this level. You can see there was my custom text. Here's my custom image. I can change this Elementor and the text here if I'd like in the cutscene. So now that I've made it through the first level, I'm going to level 2, which is indicated by this guy here. I've got no questions answered so far. And my speed actually goes back down, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. You can't always be at a high speed. You sort of refreshed it, and you're going in at level 3 speed again. So again, different hazards, different skylines. I'm going to try and fail out here if I can. Purpose of unlocking is, there we go, so there's a truck hazard. So again, pretty simple game. Comparative, you can do comparative. It also handles true false. See if I can get one more wrong. We'll fail out here. So here it tells me I'm out of speed, and I can customize this try again message as well. And that is Fastlane. So let's jump back to our presentation. Chris, any other thoughts on Fastlane?
Yeah, so just kind of from a design standpoint, I like to utilize a lot of true or false questioning in the Fastlane activity. And just to kind of add to what Jeff was saying, I feel that true or false really make a perfect kind of warm-up, get you established in the platform, and kind of get you used to some of the game mechanics that they'll be seeing. So, you know, definitely kind of true or false in Fastlane, I think, is a perfect fit.
Great, and just to add to that recap, I think it's great to use the comparison stuff too, and it's sort of an advanced feature. So if you don't know how to use the comparison or the ranking ordering type stuff, reach out to your account manager or your account lead, and they'll help you figure out how to do that, because I think that's also a pretty powerful one. It also helps it distinguish from just being assessment and actually moving it up to understanding in terms of the blooms. Great. So next we'll go to Icebreaker, which is a very similar game in terms of its single select based out of 2 answer choices. So it's another legacy game, and it was actually the second game created for the mLevel platform. The goal of this game is actually to choose the correct answer before the ice blocks stack up and create a bridge for the polar bear to cross. Once you have a pile of 5 ice blocks, the game will end. It's very similar to Fastlane, like I mentioned, in terms of its overall uses. Again, being able to use the comparative or weighted question templates to create questions using the rank or ordering, as well as true-false or multiple choice. Pick one from 2 options. The main difference is really the configurable question timer. So the blocks that are falling are actually the question timer, and this allows for players to fail out of the game quickly again if they're not understanding the content. This one focuses mostly on remembering and understanding, very similar to Fastlane. Icebreaker is a little bit more fast-paced, asking 30 questions over the game, and adds a bit of pressure to the player as the blocks start stacking up. And the progression timer actually progressively gets faster with each drop of the block. As with Fastlane, Icebreaker also supports answer options with text and images, images only, or text only. Players can crush a stacked ice block each time they answer 5 questions correctly in a row. So this allows them to actually make up for previous mistakes. And being a legacy game, Icebreaker currently does not support any custom configurations besides adjusting the question timer. So let's go ahead and move over to Icebreaker. I'm going to go back to, I believe the Star Wars game has one. There we go. Let's wait for that guy to load up. So you can see here we've got this sort of is an indication of how the blocks will stack. You've got your questions coming in at the bottom. You've got answer options on the left and right. Points are displayed at the top. So that was sort of my timer for that question. Now that that question's over, it gives me a new question. So I'm going to save the set so I can try to get 5 in a row and show you how we can get rid of this block. That one's obviously Darth Sidious. Okay, so you can see as we start answering more, it gets a little bit closer. Starts cracking the ice. If I answer one more, it'll actually crush the block. And now I'm free again. So I've gotten past that limit. So now my timer actually goes further. I've got more time to answer. So if I let some of these block up, or if I answer correctly, you can see the block immediately falls to the bottom. I get that feedback of it's the wrong answer. It shows me what the right answer is. I'm going to start. I think I'm going to try and fail out of this one if I can. Let's see. So I can show you as we keep answering incorrectly, it'll start stacking up. If I don't answer at all, it'll start stacking up. So basically, the timer gets faster and faster as the blocks stack up. I have less time to answer. In this case, I've got a very quick time. And again, you can customize that time to make it longer or shorter in the admin. That's pretty much Icebreaker. Chris, any differentiators you want to add about Icebreaker versus Fastlane?
Yeah, so just in terms of where the question is actually displaying in Icebreaker, as you saw from that quick little demo there, we have a question displaying at the bottom, and we can actually fit a little bit of a longer question into that slot. So if you have, maybe some longer questions that you don't really like displaying in Fastlane, you can easily move them right over into Icebreaker for pretty much a seamless experience.
Great, thanks, Chris. Any questions coming in, or are we good?
We do have a question about Bloom's taxonomy. We have someone curious about how exactly we align the games with Bloom's and how we approach that.
Sure. I don't know, Dave, if you want to take that one, or.
Yes, this is Dave. Basically, our goal here from a learning perspective is to help people progress in their mastery of a given topic. In Bloom's taxonomy, I'm sure most people are loosely aware of it, shows effectively how an individual progresses their knowledge to get to ultimate mastery. And so this picture shows here, it starts off with very basic facts around remembering, having the facts, and moves into understanding, and then applying those facts. And so the higher up the taxonomy you get, the more mastery you have of a given topic. And what we try to do is we understand that for a given need that you might have for training, you may have participants, users, employees that are starting at a given level. It may not always be the bottom. It may be somewhere in the middle, and you want to take them to another level. You may not always need them to get all the way to the very top. You may not always be using mLevel to get them to the very top, but we recognize that you've got a starting point and you've got a target endpoint. So what we try to do is make sure you've got a series of games at all the major levels to make sure you've got some choices by understanding where your audience currently is and how to get them to that next level. So for example, if you've got a brand new topic that people have no experience or exposure to, then some of the games that Jeff's just been showing, the Icebreaker, the Fast Lanes, Short Fuse, those are great games to really drill in those facts, get the lower level of understanding. And then if you want to get them even further up the taxonomy, the idea is there'll be some other games that Jeff will show here that are really good at that middle tier and moving them up to the third and fourth levels of the taxonomy. So what we're trying to do in this discussion and in general is have a nice selection of games and game types at all levels. And that way, depending on what your needs are for a given training, you can identify which games make sense, which order they make sense to put them in, et cetera, to help make sure you've got a good experience for users, and you help make sure they are able to effectively move from their current level of knowledge to your target level of knowledge.
Great, thanks, Dave. Just want to add, as it's a great segue to sort of our next two activities, which are Coordinates and Pathfinder, which really focus on that mid-tier level of apply and analyze. So we're going to start working on a few more games that address this. So we realize that we have a lot on the bottom in the beginning of the sort of learning taxonomy. So we're going to start working on a few more mid-level ones. So I think that'll be great. And I think people will be really excited about that. So we've got about 15 minutes. I'm going to try and plow through the rest of these here. So let's move on to coordinates. So in coordinates, the goal is to find the GPS coordinates of a secret location by identifying details of a specified learning topic. So basically, you tap via drag and drop or tap each item to learn more about its categorization, and then you can use the drag and drop functionality to correctly add the answers to the GPS. In this game, there's no time limit, but 2 incorrect attempts will end the game for a player. And again, this game is really great for topics that have a lot of answer options available. Basically, a lot of attributes for an item, such as features of a product or steps in a process. And another big differentiator from the other mLevel games is the fact that Coordinates uses multiple correct answers. So where users must select more than one correct answer to get the entire question correct. Again, we just talked about that mid-level Bloom's alignment to apply and analyze. So think of verbs like organizing, collecting, categorizing, constructing, differentiating, selecting, completing. And these all align with those pieces of apply and analyze. The gameplay includes 6 levels of play, so each level getting progressively harder since you'll start with choosing 4 out of the 6 answer options in the beginning, and then towards the end you're only going to be able to select 2 from 6 options at the very end. The players, once again, will have 2 chances to select all of the correct answers for each question round, and if they fail to do that, they're going to fail out of the game. We give scoring bonus points for choosing all correct answers on a first attempt. So when you guess incorrectly on your first attempt, if you get one of the answer choices wrong, the second attempt will be awarded with a lesser point value, less credit for your knowledge mastery. Coordinates is a slower paced game, so there's really no time limit. The only pressure players will feel is to answer correctly on their second attempt, just in order to remain in the game itself. And this game is pretty configurable. It allows the admins to change the GPS map images either by selecting from some pre-cam templates that we've got or uploading custom images. Then you can also edit the location destination text at the end of the game. So let's go ahead and we're going to dive into coordinates. Locate coordinates. Ba-doom, boom. So let's go back to our first time here, and we'll use the sales and selling techniques. Let's go find some coordinates. So this coordinate you can see is about building a phone. So at the beginning here, you get a little GPS. Looks like we're stalled here. All right, so something's going on here with my connection, I believe. All right, so the basic idea here is these guys will turn around and you'll actually get, let me go back to the PowerPoint to try to explain it. Not sure what happened there, but you can see in this little screen capture here, you'll get different answer options on the left, and then you'll be asked to place a few answer options within the actual GPS unit itself. So in the beginning, you'll be asked to answer 4 out of the 6. So you kind of drag and drop these guys over, and then towards the end of the game, you'll actually only be asked to drop 2. So it becomes a little bit more difficult because you've got way more options to choose from, but you can only choose 2. I'm going to see if I can reboot this guy. Not sure what happened with this guy. May have just stalled because I was on it too long. Let's reboot that real quick. Sorry, quickly, as Dave points out, is an adverb. Let's see if this helps. I know I played this one before. All right, let's try this time. There we go. So in the first round, you'll see we've got our questions options here, or answer options here, and we can click on each of these to sort of get what kind of category, a better sense of the context of what this answer option is about. And if I know my stuff, I can go ahead and drag it. I don't particularly know the BlackBerry Q10, so I'm just going to kind of guess here. And again, you can kind of guess and you can kind of see that feedback of, okay, well, I know it's not those 2 answers. So the first round is pretty easy because you get 2 chances. So I know I'm not going to select those guys. There's only 2 left. So this sort of helps me learn a little bit about this in the beginnings of the game. So now I've got those correct. I move on to the next round. And I can start to see my coordinates digits showing up. So round 2, drag and drop 4 options. So I've got 4 options again. I can check these out and see what they are. So this is the Galaxy Rugby Pro. Again, I'm not a Samsung guy, so I'm just going to kind of guess at some of these. Let's see what I got here. Guessed pretty well. Need to choose from one of these guys. Anybody know the answer here? I'm going to guess this one. Let's see what happens. I guessed correctly. So now I've made it down to the next round, and I think you'll see here, once this transition happens, that now I'll be asked to answer 3 questions. Place the 3 of these guys into the GPS, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. I'm just going to run through these real quick because I want to get to the next activity as well. Let's see if I can fail out. No, it's not that. I'm going to say this guy. No, actually I can't fail out. There we go. Sure. I did fail out.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on failing out, yes. So you can see if I don't know my stuff, I'm basically taken right to the summary screen. It tells me what my mastery percent is, what my score is, and then I can actually go back and replay the game if I want. And that is coordinates. Chris, any thoughts on coordinates that you want to share?
Yeah, so just from a content standpoint, I really like to utilize coordinates for a lot of product-based knowledge, and I really like to incorporate, maybe our items that have, multiple values or correspond with multiple attributes, and this will ensure, that your end user is getting the most robust experience for coordinates.
Great. And then as you can see, this game is probably one of the more complicated or complex activities for users to sort of interact with. So really helps users understanding multiple aspects of a product or solution, and they can't progress unless they're absolutely right. All right, and then our last activity that sort of goes with that Bloom's taxonomy of apply and analyze is Pathfinder. So in the Pathfinder activity, players navigate through a series of simulated events and choose the best possible course of action at each decision point. I will say this activity has resonated really well with our customer base since it allows them to quickly create and publish highly interactive activities. It also gives them the ability to create context and ask specific questions. It handles lengthy questions a bit better as well because you can break them up. So whether it's a straight up linear assessment or a complex branching scenario, this one allows users to sort of choose their own path, hence the name Pathfinder. You can easily test the strength of users' knowledge as they are presented with various scenarios, situations, or you can even use it for general assessments. So Pathfinder's flexible architecture actually allows you to use what we call themes and slides to create a truly customized and easy to navigate learning activity, which can present information and questions in bite-sized chunks, and that helps keeping players engaged in learning. Again, aligning with the apply and analyze in Bloom's taxonomy. It addresses those tiers, allowing users to demonstrate, solve, or perform in a given scenario. Also allows users to experiment by trying different paths if you have the branching set up. And you can also use provided content and context to determine reasoning what answers should be correct. So I will say this activity is so robust that it could probably even touch on some of the base items like remembering and understanding if you wanted to do a very linear sort of assessment. So it's probably one of our most flexible activities. The gameplay includes an infinite number of scenes that contain slides which let the admin create a story and context with using title, text, video, and full screen images in those slides. You can add 2 to 4 single select multiple choice or true-false answer options at the end of a scene. So this gives the ability to mark options as correct, so you can get 100% credit, partially correct, 50% credit, or no credit, meaning the answer is not correct. So the partial credit means just the answer isn't wrong, but there's probably a better answer option. So it really just depends on how you set it up. Once a player answers a question, they're provided immediate visual feedback that an admin can configure within a custom background image and also the custom text for each answer option. Pathfinder has no time limit, but the cumulative playing time is captured. And in addition, the activity only calculates the user's knowledge mastery based on their question performance. So this happens to be an activity where no points are awarded. So let's jump back to the app. Oops, sorry, getting ahead of myself. 4 minutes to go. So we'll go ahead and jump to a different one here. We've got customer service, cashier training. This will give you a quick idea of how Pathfinder works in a simulation or scenario environment. So load that up. You can see this is a title slide, so it uses minimal text. It kind of gives you the context of what you're going to be trained on. We've got navigation that allows you to go forward and backward in most cases. So I can go back if I wanted to see what that was about again. You can customize all the images, all the colors. This happens to be a text slide, so we've got quite a bit of text on here that you can take your time and read. Again, there's no time limit. Again, we're using custom images here. We're sort of setting up a persona of a person. In this case, it's a scenario or situation. The store is opening in a few minutes. You've been assigned cashier number 3. What do you need to do to prepare for the day? So you can go ahead and you can see what the options are. And let's see, what do I want to put? Probably want to do that. No. So I got it wrong. Gives me immediate feedback. If I want, I can put a custom image in the background here. Again, we move on to the next question. So each scene, you can have all these slides that add context, or you can add just a question. So you can go right into the question if you've already created the context in the previous scene. So let's see, the store's opened. What do I want to do? I probably want to do that. So yeah, so that one I got right. Again, it shows me that feedback. This is all customizable by the admin. I can put this per question or per answer option. I can type whatever I need to in here. Let's see. So here I'm assisting a large, heavy purchase. I wasn't sure if you can list them. What should I do next? So I'm going to try to get, let's see. Let's try that one. That's wrong. So again, you get the idea. And as you go through, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can keep answering. I'll go through here really quickly. I'm not really good at this, so I shouldn't be a cashier. But again, to recap, Pathfinder is ideal for scenario and assessment-based content, whether it's linear or branching, and it can be used for many different things, just depending on how you set it up. It's very robust. Chris, any other insights you want to add about Pathfinder?
Yeah, so kind of, outside of utilizing this for, a scenario-based activity, you could also actually set it up more or less as an assessment as well. So let's say you want your end users to go through, play a few of the different games and activities, and once they play those games and activities, you want them to apply that knowledge into more or less of an assessment. You could actually use the Pathfinder functionality to set up an assessment in there, which we've seen a few clients do, and it's actually turned out pretty well.
Great. And again, if you have questions about how to use it, reach out to your account managers. We've had a really good feedback from customers on this activity. So I've got a few more activities. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'll quickly touch on these guys. It's really not much to see in terms of gameplay, stuff like that. So Knowledge Navigator basically have users improve their scores by studying the content. The Knowledge Navigator can have all the content from every activity if you want, and it shows it in a presents it in an easy to use study flash card format. Can be used for pre-game prep, as reference while in a mission, or for real-world point of need reference as needed. In addition, users can search for specific content, making Knowledge Navigator look up quick and easy. This is sort of a screenshot of the Knowledge Navigator. You see we've got searching. You can use images for topic items. You can have attributes listed. You can use the easy side-to-side arrows to flip through the flashcards. You can add things to your study list. So very helpful in terms of having content ready for people to learn. Chris, anything else on this guy?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Great. And then we've got a few more here. External link. This basically just lets you link out to external things like a website, surveys, any externally hosted documents. You can use it for reference. We've had some users or some clients use this for posting contest rules if they have contests. And then we also have, you can use it for sending product specs to salespeople, things like that. And again, depending on how you use it, if you use it for surveys, you can sort of touch on that evaluate piece of Bloom's, which is kind of powerful. Video, just quickly touching base on video, we use Azure Smooth Streaming. We recommend uploading video formatted at 720p for best results, but we do support high-def video as well. We also recommend that you keep videos under 2 minutes for best viewer engagement. And then just keep in mind the scaling differs depending on your screen size. So if we support iOS, Android, Windows devices. Some of the screen sizes are different, so may not go completely full screen. You might have some bars on the sides or the top. And one quick little note is to make sure that your file upload name contains no spaces. That's just for admins to make it easier. We've run into some issues with that. And then our last activity that we'll talk about is task. And really, it's pretty simple. It's an out-of-game achievement. An admin can set up a real-world task that they can complete outside of the app, and we basically just use the honor system for completion. And then once they go in and actually select that as complete, they'll earn their stars. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Do you have any questions? Good?
No questions.
No questions? All right. Well, Chris, thanks for your insights, and Dave as well. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. I know this was a longer one. We had a few activities to get through, so just wanted to point out, I think our next webinar will be in July. We're tentatively saying that's going to be around use cases for mLevel at work, so we're going to try to present some ideas and discussions around examples of how customers have been using mLevel in the workplace. If you have ideas for presenting or you want to actually help us present, reach out to us, let us know. Be great. So that one's going to be on Wednesday, July 8th, 10 a.m. Central. Anything else, guys? Nope. All right, perfect. Thanks so much for sticking with us, and we hope you found this webinar to be useful. Also, just wanted to point out that the webinar is recorded, so we'll be posting that on the support site. And I believe we're going to be sending an email out with all that stuff in it, right, Jake?
That's correct.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.